Good morning, and welcome to Creative Living Fellowship's online Sunday service. Please join me in our opening song, Use Me.
Use me, oh God, I stand for you, and here I'll abide as you show me all that I must do. I used to think God was the sun, God is the sun, and God's so much more than the earth and the stars and all of creation. God is creator, all in all, and God needs us to shine its light as me, as you, so use me. Oh God, I stand for you, and here I'll abide as you show me all that I must do. Command my hands, what must they do? Command my life, it's here for you. God is the love that heals all creation. God is creator, makes all things new, and God needs us to shine its light as me, as you, so use me. Oh God, I stand for you, and here I'll abide as you show me all that I must do. Show me all that I must do. Show me all that I must do.
Good morning, CLF.
Hi, CLF.
Good morning, CLF. Sending so much love.
You have an amazing day, CLF.
Happy Sunday, CLF.
Greetings and salutations, CLF.
Good morning, CLF. May love, light, truth, and trust be with you all.
And good morning to all of you, and of course to our youth ministry. It's always so good to see them on Sunday mornings. I welcome you all here to Creative Living Fellowship. I'm the Reverend Dr. Sherry F. McCreary, and it is my pleasure to be the senior minister here. We are a religious science church, and it is our deepest intention to be a community of love, of care, of connection that opens hearts, that just transforms minds, transforms lives, and expands consciousness. And so that's what I'd like us to just keep in mind, that that's our deepest intention here, is to be a community of love, of care, of connections that opens hearts, that expands consciousness, and it transforms lives. And we do that through the teachings and the practices of the science of mind. One of our practices here is holding vigil, and we have two practitioners who are holding vigil for us today. And they are Carrie Sherman and Jeannie Sarverns. And holding vigil is also known as holding the high watch. And what that means is that they're sitting in meditation, in prayerful contemplation, just holding a space for the perfect unfolding of our time together here this day. And so I thank Carrie and I thank Jeannie for their service here today. Thank you very much. I'd like to also just give a shout out to our Sunday service team. You know who they are. Nicole Jordan and Deb Covington are our AV team. And we have David Panessa, who is our music director. He conducts our meditation service. And then we have our tech team, Fran Peck and Reverend Mary Jane Hyde. So I thank all of you so much for your service here today and every Sunday, and for really helping to make this service possible. I appreciate all of you very, very much. Our musical inspiration this week is one of our regular favorite friends, Adam Smith, and he'll be with us in just a little bit. Nicole Jordan is going to be bringing us our announcements, and then following the announcements, there'll be a few moments of silence, and there will then be a brief gong wash. Following the gong wash, there'll be another few moments of silence, and then practitioner Rhonda Emmerich will bring us our reading and our evocation. But right now, Nicole's going to bring us the announcements.
Good morning, Creative Living Fellowship. It is my pleasure to be here to give you today's announcements. And I have to say, I love being here, especially on a Sunday in Zoom. It's so fun to see everybody here. So do you meditate? Well, don't meditate alone. Meditate with us on Facebook Live. Join us for midday meditation at noon, Monday through Thursday. We hold a pre-service meditation as well on Sundays at 9:30 a.m. in Zoom. Get your community care and connection on with your CLF family and Reverend Sherry every Tuesday as she hosts a Zoom meeting at 6:30 p.m. This week, Reverend Sherry will be leading Conscious Conversation. If you would like to suggest a conversation topic or activity, please send an email to connect@creativelivingfellowship.com. We look forward to seeing you on Tuesday. We are having a free cycle morning on Saturday, this Saturday, March 13th from 9 a.m. to noon. There will be gently used and some well-used items from CLF that community members can have as keepsakes to use to use with love and nostalgia while remembering the wonderful CLF property on 7th Street. This is also an opportunity for you to do a final walkthrough on the campus. This is not a traditional free cycle, which means that we do not want any donations from you. We're trying to get the items that are on the property out of there. So do not bring any items. Just come with bags and your masks. We have all kinds of items for you too, like office supplies, organizing supplies, a variety of kitchen items. And for families with children, we have Easter items because that's coming up, toys and games and school supplies and craft supplies. Remember to carry totes or bags or whatever. We have some grocery bags to help you load up. We will also be following COVID-19 protocols with a limited amount of people allowed inside at a time. So it's kind of like shopping at Walmart. There will be hand sanitizers and gloves available. Everyone attending will be required to wear a properly fitting mask while on the property, practice social distancing, so at least 6 feet apart, wear gloves while handling merchandise. And I know it's really hard to resist, but please, no hugging. We look forward to seeing you here on Saturday. We have dogs and lizards and even bears. Oh my. At least we will on Friday, March 19th from 5 to 6:30 p.m. That's right. Animal chaplain Fran Peck is hosting another Yappy Hour. Have you ever noticed during an online meeting or event that your animal just has to get in on it? Well, now we have the opportunity for the spotlight to be on them. Let's connect and bond over our furry, feathery, and even scaly friends and family. Drop in whenever you can make it. Remember, you can use text to give to make your contributions to CLF. Simply text the amount you'd like to give to 602-610-1868. And just to clarify, that's sending a text, that's not making a phone call with that number. If it's your first time donating by text, you will be sent a link to set up your account. And after that, it's as easy as texting the amount that you would like to tithe to 602-610-1868. CLF is a tithing church, which means that we tithe off of your tithes. And our 2021 first quarter tithes are going to Circle the City, Healthcare for the Homeless. And speaking of tithing our quarterly tithes, we're always looking for more nonprofits to send our tithes to. So if you have a nonprofit that you would like to nominate, please use the link found in the comments to submit your recommendation. You do need to submit the form. An email does not count, so please use that link. Our Sunday prayer room is available to you after service today. Get your after service prayer with a practitioner. Just head on over to Zoom using the link provided in the comments. And for those of you currently in Zoom with us, just stay right where you are if you're looking for a prayer after service. Participants will be transferred into a breakout room for a private session with one of our licensed practitioners. And after service, we have Sunday fellowship too. Join practitioner Jeannie Sovereigns in Facebook Messenger on, that was hard to read and hard to say. Join Jeannie Sovereigns in Facebook Messenger chat. And today it's actually from 11:15 to 11:45, and hang out, discuss the service, whatever's on your mind or heart, or just connect with your CLF family. And also today, your children are invited to join our youth ministry for a Zoom lesson at 12 p.m. Lessons are focused on nurturing their spirituality and science of mind practices. And weekly topics are inspired by Reverend Sherry's themes and include social emotional, growth mindset, and mindfulness practices. You can find the details for all of our events with their links on our website under events, under our Facebook events, posted in the comments, or in your weekly newsletter. That's it for today's announcements. It is now time to move on to our gong wash, followed by a moment of silence.
Our reading today is from the March 7th entry of the 365 Science of Mind, a year of daily wisdom from Ernest Hone. Individualization. Everything in the universe is a unique individualization or expression of the one thing that is the cause of all things. No two blades of grass are alike, no two grains of sand, no two thumbprints, no two of anything are alike, and nothing ever exactly reproduces any other thing. This means that the one ultimate cause is pressing against every individualization flowing through it, or him or her, and that every event in the finite has an infinite possibility behind it. We have to link all of this with our everyday actions because we cannot live by theories alone. There must be brought down to earth and applied to our daily lives. But it's wonderful to realize that we do not have to imitate. We do not have to compete. All we have to do is to be ourselves and realize that the one self, the universal being expressing itself in us in a unique way, is absolute and available. This is a secret that every person has with life and with God, that God shall be to each one of us what we are to God. Today, I practice being myself. I think simply and directly from the center of my own being, which is one with the living spirit. I realize that all the good there is, all the presence there is, all the power there is immediately available and responsive to my acceptance. I enter into this faith of believing, the joy of knowing, and the act of living that proclaim the one presence and power in all things. This presence, warm, personal, and colorful, responds to me. It is within, around, and through me, and it embraces all things. Today, I accept my partnership with the infinite. And continuing in this space, we open our hearts, we open our minds with gratitude, with love. We recognize that there is just one. There is just one power, just one presence, just one essence, just one energy. That one is expressing itself in, through, and as all life, expressing in, through, and as me. And as I know this truth, I know that it is expressing in, through, and as all beings. It is in every situation of life, every circumstance of life, every relationship. It is everywhere at all times, in all places. And I, Rhonda, speak my word into the law. I speak it with authority, knowing, claiming, and accepting the perfect divine unfolding of this service. I bless our congregants individually and collectively, knowing that peace and love is our only truth. I send special blessings to our Reverend Dr. Sherry today. I surround her in love and light, knowing peace for her. I send blessings across our planet to every seeker of truth, every teacher of truth, knowing that we are all one, and any appearance of anything different is dissolved easily now. I send blessings across our planet, knowing that any appearance of disease, the truth is wholeness. Any appearance of lack, the truth is abundance. Knowing that where there is appearance of hate and discord, knowing the truth is peace. And for that, I am grateful. I am thankful. I release this prayer into the law that always says yes. I release it with gratitude now, and so it is.
Hello, CLF, and happy Sunday morning. Thanks for having me back as the musical guest and as part of the CLF family. And let's have a wonderful day together. Oh, stranger, would you like to hold my hand find shelter from disparaging our ways. Is this a dream? It seems more like my nightmare. But in your silence, I hear the song it goes. Out in the desert, in the harsh of the sunlight, there is a river. I can see that it's flowing. You are my city, though I don't belong to you. But in your people, I hear the song it goes. Ooh, we are fragile. We are one love. We are struggling, but we are strong enough to fight. We are of this land, and we are the city. We are mountains. We are alive. We are alive. Oh, stranger, I would like to hold your hand and find shelter from this lonely abandon. Feel the wind blow, make a wish on the skyline, and listen to your heart out here in a song.
Thank you so much, favorite friend Adam Smith. It's always great to have you back with us on Sunday mornings. And Adam will be back with us again during the offering time. But for now, let's just take a breath together as we move into this part of our service. I don't know if I said earlier that we are marching into March, or we have marched into March, and it is the third month into this year, and that's just sort of unbelievable that we've come so far so fast. And I also have been aware of the fact that it's been 1 year that we've been dealing now with COVID. It's been 1 year that we've been home on lockdown. It's been 1 year since we've been apparently separate, not being able to see people, not being able to go about life the way that we'd always known life. And it didn't seem that long, but it has been that long. It has been a long time. It has been a different kind of year. It has been a year full of adjustments and change and learning new things and learning new skills and learning to be a different way. And so we've come through a year, and I think that's something for us to really applaud, the fact that we have made it through this year, we've come through this year, and without looking at the downsides, just looking at at the upside of it is that we've walked through and we continue to walk through this time knowing that we've never walked alone. We aren't walking alone, that there's always that power and that presence within us that is always guiding us, always directing us, always showing us the way. And so this month we are moving into a different topic, a different theme for the month. And the theme for this month is being in service. Being in service. Being in service. We're going to be talking about service all month. And my theme, my topic for today is don't do it. Just don't do it. And I say that because we're talking about being in service, and service is helping, being of help, helping others, of doing something for someone, or helping out in some way. And when we can do that, the way to do that is from our hearts, from just giving of ourselves. Ernest Holmes says that we should give of ourselves in love and in service, in a spirit of generosity and good fellowship. And he says to give of yourself, we have to do that in love. We have to do that in good fellowship. And that when we refuse to give, we refuse to receive, because everything moves in circles. Everything moves in circles. And so service is about giving. Service is about being. Service is about being in unity, in oneness. Service is about love. And that's what we've been talking about all years: love, love, love. And so I'm inviting you to learn to be in service, to learn to be in service. And you know, when we are, the first thing we have to do is to set our intention to serve. And when we set our intention to serve, we have to also look at our motivation for serving. What is our motivation for serving? And this is when we get to the don't do it part. If you are moved to serve because of some benefit that it does for you, something that you will get in return, or because it's expected of you, or it's because you feel that it's a should that you serve, or you feel that it's a responsibility or it's a duty, don't do it. Don't do it. That's not a reason for doing service. And I specifically said doing service because I've heard people refer to service as doing service. I have to do service this week. I have to do service to get my hours. I have to do service to do whatever the case may be. And service is not about doing. It's not about doing. It's about being. It's about allowing. It's about giving. It's about openness. It's about oneness. It's about unity. It's about an open heart, because that is the place from which service comes, from an open heart, from an open heart. And someone said that the purpose of service is to allow God to reach others through our hands, to allow God to reach others through our hands, to allow God to reach others through our hands. I really like that. That is what service is all about. It's allowing God to reach others through our hands, because God can only work through us. God can only work through us. And to the degree that we are open, then God works through each of us individually. And when there's no opening, then God just keeps moving to the next opening, because God is always seeking expression. And so when we're looking at service, we want to make sure that we are that open place and space through which God can serve, through which God can reach others, through which God can really do what God wants to do. And that's just be expressing, be that love that's always expressing. You know, what I got a chance to look at service this past couple of weeks has been, the time that I went for my vaccine. I went for the first vaccine a couple of weeks, 3 weeks ago. And the thing that I was really struck by was how nice the people were. Oh, there were so many volunteers there, and they were so wonderful that it really, I don't know why I was so surprised by it, but to a person, they were just wonderful. You would have thought that they were each my good friends, and I didn't know them, but they were all just so friendly, so helpful, and so willing to be there, and so willing to be of service. And I didn't term it service at the time. The first time I went, I was just struck by how nice they were, and how loving they were, and how kind they were. And that stayed with me for a couple of weeks. And then as I started to think about our theme for the month, service, being in service. I went back for the second vaccine this past week, and I experienced the same thing with the same group of people, I guess, or different people, but at the same place. But they were all volunteers, and they were all just so willing, so helpful, so loving, so kind, so generous. Of the generosity of spirit was the thing that really struck me. And that's what made me start to think about being in service. They were really being in service. They weren't doing service. They were being in service. And that's what we have to look at for ourselves. Just how can I be in service? And first of all, as I said, we have to set our intention to serve. Of course, setting our intention to serve. How can I help? That's the thing we always want to know. How can I help? How can I help? What can I do? That's the question that we ask. What can I do? How can I help? That's a normal question that comes up. How can I be of service? There are three aspects to serving: being of service, being in service, and being service. Those are three different mindsets: being of service, being in service, and being service. And so as we look at being of service, that's the question that comes up first. That's the mindset we're in first. What can I do? What needs to be done? How can I serve? And so we're looking at what can be done, but we're looking at how we can do that from a place of open-heartedness. And again, as I said, if it's from a place of what am I going to get out of this? Am I going to get credit for this? Am I doing this because this is my responsibility or because I should do it? If you have on that should blanket, then that's not the time to serve. That's not the time to serve. The time to serve is when you can take that should blanket off and you're just serving from a place of open-heartedness and from a place of wanting to just allow God to use you. Because, we sing that song every week, use me. And that's what service is all about. When we are saying, use me, oh Lord, then we are opening our hearts for God to use us for service, for God to use us to reach others. And so that's what we are looking at initially when we want to know, how can I be of service? We want to know, what can I do? What can I offer? Here I am, Lord, use me. That's what we're really saying. And so we go through that part of assessing what needs to be done, assessing what I can do, assessing what I can offer. That's being of service, and that's a good first step. That's a necessary first step, so that we don't just come in and just start doing stuff. That's what people do sometimes when they are thinking they're serving, is come in and start doing things. We just want to come in and just be open, assessing what needs to be done, And then when we actually start to bring ourselves to it, when we start to bring our skills to it, when we start to bring our talent to it, when we start to bring our resources, then that's when we're beginning to be in service. That's when we're beginning to be in service, because we're beginning to do the things, but we're doing it from our abilities, from our talents, from our resources. We're in that place of givingness. We're in that place of givingness. And again, with the people that I saw out at the vaccine location, they were being in service. Whether it was directing traffic, or whether it was checking ID, or whether they were telling you, giving directions about turning your lights off, or turning your engine on, or whatever the case may be, they were being in service. They were doing those things. They were doing those things that they were guided to do. They were doing those things that they knew were a part of what needed to be done with them being in service. And so that's that's the other part that we have to get to when we are looking at service. I've had the opportunity also, in addition to being at the vaccine sites, seeing people in service, just seeing our own community in service. As we have been going through this process of sorting and packing and releasing things and trashing and all the things that we've been going through at the center for the last few weeks, just having people who have been showing up to volunteer and to really help us out and really coming in. First thing is, how can I be of service? Looking at what needs to be done, doing an assessment, and then actually starting to bring their talents, bring their resources, bring their abilities, along with their willingness to serve, being in service. Being in service is what I've just been watching our community do. Some people in our community stepping up just to see how they could be in service. And that's what's been so beautiful about this time, is just observing the being part of it. Observing the being part of it. Not just doing, but actually being in service, actually bringing themselves to it, actually bringing, this is how we serve, by bringing ourselves to it. And sometimes, being in service means that it could just be a look or a smile, or even with a mask on, you can tell when somebody's smiling because you can see it in their eyes. But helping, if there's something that needs to be done, if someone's lifting something and it's too heavy, just helping to move something. Or whatever the case may be, there's so many ways for us to be in service. But the big part of that, as I said, is being in service. And then the final part of that is being service itself. Being service itself. When we bring all of who we are, and when we lose ourselves in the act of service, when we lose ourselves in the act of helping, when we lose ourselves and just open up and just allow that divine intelligence within us to just start to operate in and through and as us, that's when we are being service itself. And I have seen this transition and this transformation with people that I've been serving with over these last few weeks at the center. I've just seen the transition from being of service, assessing what needs to be done, being in service, starting to actually do things, to being service itself. There's a dissolving, if you will, of the personality of the personality into the whole, into the unification with the divine, into the all that is, that begin. And you can see when spirit starts to work through the people who are working, the spirit starts to move through them, and people just start to get into a rhythm. They get into a rhythm, and they lose that individuality, that individual personality, and they just start to be into the rhythm. And you just, and just being able to observe, spirit working, to be able to observe how that divine intelligence knows exactly what needs to be done. It knows exactly what needs to be said, knows exactly how it needs to be done, knows exactly how to do everything. That's what being service is all about. That's what being service itself is all about. And as I said, once we set the intention to serve, then spirit knows exactly whether it's time for you to be of service, whether it's time for you to be in service, whether it's time for you to just be service. Because it just depends on what the need is at the time. It depends on so many factors that we aren't even aware of. And the only thing that we have to be aware of is our own availability, our own willingness, our own uniqueness, and our willingness to be used. Our willingness to be used. Ernest Holmes says that there's a powerful good in the universe that can use us. He says that there's a powerful good in the universe that we can use, and we can use it. And we know that there's a powerful good in the universe that can use us. And when we come to the place where we are willing to allow that power to use us, it is amazing the kinds of things that we can do. It is amazing the kinds of things that can be accomplished. It is amazing the kinds of ways that we can do things that are for the highest good of everybody. That moves us back into that place of oneness, because service is all about oneness. When you think about with the pandemic and the vaccine and things that are going on, when you think about the fact that the two pharmaceutical giants, Johnson & Johnson and Merck, are now working together. Merck has come to work with Johnson & Johnson to help distribute their vaccine. They've been rivals forever. They've always been arch rivals. And now they're working together to get this vaccine out. Merck is working with Johnson & Johnson to get Johnson & Johnson's vaccine out to the masses, out to the people, out to humankind. This is what service is all about. This is what unity is all about. This is what oneness is all about. When we can work together for the common good, when we can work together for the highest good of all concern, then that's when we are allowing God to reach others through our hands. And who would think that corporations would be doing this? We think about individuals doing this. We think about people doing it, but you know, there are people who operate corporations. There are people who run the corporations. And so the people who are running the corporations are saying, yes, let's work together. Let's work together so that we can allow God to use us. And they may not have used that terminology, but so that we can allow God to use us for the greater good, for the highest good. This is what unity looks like. And so we've been talking about unity throughout these last few months, particularly since the pandemic and since the election and all the other things that have been so divisive. We've talked about unity being in the midst of everything, unity being something that is really necessary in order for all of us to succeed, in order for all of us to survive. And this is a perfect example of that. In order for all of us to survive, in order for all of us to move forward, and we have to all move forward together. And we do this through the service that we are willing to allow to be provided through us. We do this through our willings to be open, to allow God to use us however God needs to use us. Because our purpose for being here is to be delivery systems for God's love. Our purpose for being here is to be a vehicle through which God can work. And God works through us through the service that we give. Through the service that we give. So when we can release our personality stuff, when we can release our prejudices, when we can release our fears, when we can release those things that we think would separate us, when we can release all that and just get to the bare bones stuff of oneness, then we have that space within us through which God can work, through which God can reach others, through which God can be itself, and that wholeness that is seeking to reveal itself can do that in and through and as each one of us. This is how we have peace on earth. This is how we show up in oneness. This is how we have love on earth. This is how we have God expressing on earth through our service, through our willingness to serve, through our willingness to be service. And when we are willing to be service, we're willing to be that place and that space through which God works. And so I'm inviting each of you today to really look at being in service, not doing in service. Don't do it. Just don't do it. Be in service. How can I be of service today? How can I be in service today? How can I be service today? How can I be service today? And these are the questions for us to ask ourselves as we go through this time. We still have a way to go. We're still in the desert. We're still coming through the desert. We're still being guided and directed and shown the way always. We're still being led. We're still being in this place of the not know. We don't know where our next step is. We don't know where our next place is. And for those of us in CLF community who've been coming to church on Sundays at the property on 7th Street, that property won't be here much longer. The property won't be here much longer. We're in escrow now. Escrow closes on March 30th, the end of this month. We will be out of that property by April 6th. Where do we go from here? God knows. I don't. And I know that we are guided and directed every step of the way. God already knows what it wants to look like as CLF. God already knows how it wants to show up as CLF. And all we need to do is open our hearts and open our minds and open our entire being so that we can be used as that vehicle through which God works to take us on to our next place. And so that's what service is all about, being willing to open our hearts, being willing to be that vehicle, being willing to step up and be service, be that place and space through which God guides, be that place and space through which God leads, be that place and space through which the divine intelligence that knows everything already knows how it wants to be, where it wants to be, and all that. And so rather than us getting caught up in, oh my God, what are we going to do next? Oh, where are we going to be? Oh, what are we going to do? I don't know. But I know where we are right now. And so what I'm inviting all of us to do is to, as I always say, do what is before you to do. Be open, be available, be willing to just be where you are and allow that divine intelligence to guide us, to direct us, because that next place is waiting. That next place is right here. And so I just invite you to set your intention to serve. Set your intention to serve. Set your intention to serve, and in your daily lives, not just at CLF, not just someplace out there, but just set your intention to serve. Every step of the way, every situation in which you find yourself, whether it's interacting on Zoom, whether it's interacting in the grocery store or wherever, just asking the question always, how can I serve? How can I serve? How can God use me in this moment? Those are the questions that we need to ask so that we can be service. And that's what I'm inviting you to do. Be service. Let's turn within at this moment. So just as we move into this place, in this space of knowing that there's but one power, there's but one presence, there's but one mind, there's but one life, there's but one intelligence, one breath, one activity. That one I choose to call God. That one is my very life. That one is the life of each of us here this day. That one is that within which we live and we move and we have our being, and it lives and moves and has its being in each of us. And it is always seeking expression in and through and as each of us. It expresses as each of us. And so just knowing this truth, I just speak the word for each of us this day. Just speak a word of open-heartedness, speak a word of service, speak a word of willingness, speak a word of wholeness for each of us this day. Knowing that all needs are met in each and every moment of each and every day. Knowing that whatever it is we need to know, that divine intelligence already knows. Knowing that that divine intelligence is already guiding us, always directing us, always showing us the way. Whatever it is that we need, whatever it is that we feel that we are in need of, that divine presence within us is always providing for each and every need that we have. It is showing up as whatever it is that we need, whether it is health, whether it is abundance, whether it is a place to live, whether it's perfect relationships, whatever it is we need, God shows up as that thing that we need. And so we can release all fear, we can release all doubt, we can release our anxiety, we can release anything that we feel that would separate us in any way, and just open our hearts and open our minds to the healing that is available to us, to the wholeness that is seeking to reveal itself in and through and as our very lives. I know that there's healing in the body temple for anyone who is needing healing in their body temples today. I know there's healing in the bodies of affairs and relationships. There's healing in our government. There's healing of any sense of separation from God, so that sense of separation from each other is healed. And we are moving forward in oneness, moving forward in unity, moving forward in God, knowing that God's in the midst of everything. And anything that is unlike it is dispelled, dissolved by this word that's being spoken right here and right now. And so I just pause momentarily so that you may speak the names of anyone you'd like held in prayer this day. You may speak their names silently or loud, but you may speak them now. And so for all those whose names are spoken here this day, I know that God is right where each of them is, blessing and keeping them. God, the comforter for anyone who is grieving today the loss of a loved one, the loss of health, any loss of any kind. God is in the midst of everything that's going on, every situation, every circumstance, every event. God is in the midst. This prayer goes out to anyone on this planet needing a prayer this day, knowing that God is. God is. That's all we ever need to know. God is. And so I simply say, thank you, Father, Mother God. Thank you, Father, Mother God. Thank you, Father, Mother God, for everything. I know indeed that all is well, for I know indeed that all is God. And I simply allow it to be. And so it is. Thank you, David. And so now we're just going to move into our offering time. This is a time that we give of our tithes and offerings. And as you know, the Creative Living Fellowship is a tithing church. We invite you to participate in that part of the service or this part of the service with us by clicking the donate links in the comments or going to our website and clicking the donate button. Or you can also text to give. But however you do, we certainly appreciate your continued financial support of Creative Living Fellowship. And so let's just say our offering blessing together now. Divine love, through me, blesses and multiplies all that I am, all that I have, all that I give, all that I receive, and all that I circulate. Thank you, God. And so it is. And now here's Adam Smith again.
Well, I don't like to pretend, 'cause it's not in my nature. I think it's much more wonderful to be who you are. Skip to Lou, my darling. Ain't it so good to feel alive? There's a melody in my head, and I don't wanna know what it's like to feel lonely. Take these thoughts from me. Take your hand in my hand. We're feeling so high, yes, and we're feeling alright. But sooner or later, we'll all fall down. Well, I don't like to be sad, but I find the world so. And if I'm misunderstood, it's supposed to humble and ground me. With all these seeds in me have all been stepped on and trampled. Well, let me lay down in the bitter earth and be a garden to blossom. And we'll say, skip to my Lou, my darling. Ain't it so good to feel alive? There's a shadow on me, and I don't wanna know what it's like.
Adam, favorite friend. We really appreciate you being here today. Let's take a breath together. I just have a couple of closing announcements. I'd like to remind you, of course, of the free cycle that's happening on Saturday, March 13th from 9 till 12. And you heard Nicole talk about the COVID-19 protocol that we will be observing, and that's social distancing of 6 feet, at least 6 feet, and everyone's required to wear a mask. And we will have hand sanitizers and cleaning products of whatever it is we may need, gloves, whatever else it is we may need. I look forward to seeing you here. Bring your own bags. And this will also provide an opportunity for those who'd like to walk through the building again one last time to do so on Saturday morning. And we would have today after service, immediately after service, fellowship with Jeannie Sovereigns, practitioner Jeannie Sovereigns. We'll have the fellowship time that you can drop in and have a bite or coffee or whatever with her and conversation. And then at 12 o'clock, the youth ministry meets today also. So drop your kids off at youth ministry today. I think that is it. Oh, the Zoom prayer room with practitioners is open, of course, immediately after service. So those of you who are already in Zoom, you can stay where you are to be led into a breakout room for prayer with a practitioner individually. If you're not in the Zoom room, you can click the link in the comments on Facebook or wherever and come into the Zoom room to have prayer with a practitioner. You can reach on-call practitioners by going to our website to get the contact information, or you can send them an email with a prayer request at prayer@creativelivingfellowship.com. The point I'm making is that there's no reason to walk around with a heavy heart. We have practitioners who really would love to pray with you, to know the truth for you, and to walk with you during this time. So please take advantage of the opportunity to have a practitioner pray for you today. Don't forget to use the treatment for supply. It works, but only if you work it. So continue to use it. That is our community prayer. And it is something that we are using twice a day, and it really, really is working for people. So do that. And of course, I always say reach out to each other. Even though we don't know where we're going, even though we don't know what the next step is, we know each other. And we know that we are a community of connection and that we can stay connected with each other through our comments to each other in text messages and telephone calls and cards. And we can come to Tuesday evening connection time when we have conscious conversation and we get a chance to see each other, because that happens in Zoom. That's every Tuesday from 6:30 to 7:45. So I look forward to seeing you all. We have lots of opportunities for you to connect, and we will be having classes coming up in the education department. So look out for that. And that's another way of connecting as a community. And I look forward to seeing you guys really, really soon. Meanwhile, I love you. I miss you. I look forward to seeing you on Saturday for Free Cycle. And if you can't make it to that, I look forward to seeing you when we see each other. But just know that I do love you. And I'm so happy that you're here with us on Sunday mornings. Take good care. Be safe. God bless. And now let's have our closing song, I Release.
I release and I let go. I let the Spirit run my life and my heart.